Hey YouTube, Sean here again from Excelsior Sabers. I have another saber build to show you today. This is an OWK that was commissioned by Devin from Florida. And this OWK has a Prizm V5 with a tri-cree blue royal blue white LED. It has a 2-watt bass speaker vented through the grip. And it has a 1.3mm recharge jack inside of a custom designed chassis located right here near the pommel. And the hilt also has all of the accuracy modifications that I usually like to make to these hilts, which includes powder coating on the black areas. It has Acerocket's tapered pommel cubes and solid end cap here, which are available at the custom saber shop. And also has a real bike valve with a 3D printed purple Hemi. Has real LEDs and LED bezels up here. And the emitter has been lathed out to accept a real fender washer, 1.5 inch, and a 3/8 of an inch steel rod insert, just like the original Hero prop from the Phantom Menace. So this is a really nice OWK hilt. Again, it has the Prizm V5. So with this hilt, we get a prop replica that's really accurate to the original, but it's also functional. So the activation switch is located here, and your auxiliary switch is actually the purple Hemi button. So before we turn this on, let me show you the chassis that I designed for it, which is located down here in the pommel. Because the Prizm V5 is a wider board, it's about as wide as a Crystal Focus 8, it was necessary to actually open up the upper pommel piece here. So on an OWK, there are two pieces that make up the pommel. You've got the cap, which is this thing of course, and then you have the upper pommel piece. Now this area, if you look down here, you'll notice you can see there's the 3D printed chassis inside of there, and this area, which is originally 7/8 of an inch, this has been lathed open to 1 inch in order to accommodate this custom chassis and the larger soundboard. Now of course the Prizm 5.0 was only available for a short time this year, because pretty quickly after it came out, Irv from Plector Labs updated it and was able to take that board and shrink it down a bit. So it's actually a Prizm 5.1 is available now, and that's actually will fit inside of a 7/8 of an inch inner diameter hilt. But be that as it may, the 5.0 being wider, it was necessary to open the upper pommel piece up again in order to accommodate that. So the chassis piece you can see here, this again is a 1.3mm recharge jack. This is a kill key, which is designed by Dmitry Stoke. This is available on shapeways.com. And this is a rotating kill key. Alright. And the SD card access is right here. It's very simple. You just press on it with your finger and that comes out, so that you can change your sound fonts, change your motion parameters, etc. Okay. So, while we're on the topic of this chassis, let me show you exactly what it looks like. Alright, so here's what it looks like. Now this was my first time designing a chassis like this, and it was purely out of necessity because I couldn't find anything that would fit in this hilt that would accommodate a Prizm V5 and also a Crystal Focus 8, because I have another build. I have one of those builds coming up next. But I needed a chassis that would hold those larger boards, and also a 1.3mm recharge jack, which I have around here somewhere. Here we go. Okay. So I don't know if you can see this, but it's very tiny. Right, and this one actually I've actually installed the Stoke recharge kill key, right, which you can take out like that, and then that just inserts, and you know, it's turning. It's a turning style kill key. So I needed a chassis that was going to fit in the OWK, hold the Prizm V5, and also hold this, and this is what I came up with. Now, the first version of this that I made, it wasn't quite robust enough, but this is the second version, and this one worked out perfectly for this build. And you can get an idea how it works. You can install your your recharge port goes down in there. The way I installed it, I actually used a small drop of epoxy and I poured it underneath into the back of the recharge jack, so that when you insert the kill key, here it is, when you insert the kill key, actually, see how it's kind of sliding around right now? When you insert the kill key with it after it's been glued in, then it will actually stay, it'll stay in place, and it'll allow that kill key to stick out more so you can actually reach it with your finger rather than being sunken in like that. Okay, so that's one thing. But it was necessary to have that little bit extra space so that you could kind of turn it in there and work it around inside the chassis. But anyway, yeah, so that worked out really well. I have, and let me show you how I designed this. I didn't want to make it so that the soundboard like snapped in there. I didn't want it, this is my first time making a chassis like this. I just wanted something that was going to be really versatile and something that's going to be easy to work with. Okay, so here's a Crystal Focus 8 that I've got wired up. This is for another OWK build that I'm working on very shortly here. And it just slides into the chassis, just like this. Alright, and once you get it in there, if I can get it in, there we go. Okay, you'll notice it's the exact same width as the Crystal Focus soundboard itself. Now for the Prizm, you can trim it down, and that's what I did here. So it's designed to work with both of those soundboards. The way that I installed it was I just used a little dab of super glue on either side of the other side of the board. I just kind of pushed it forward, and then I can find a thing here to show you. I would put a little dab of super glue like right here, and then again on the other side right here, and then push that up and then squeeze it for a second, let that glue on there dry, and then that would keep that from sliding around. But I only did that once I was ready to actually do the final installation. I always like to wire things up, get everything working, and then do the installation in the Sabre once everything is functioning flawlessly. Now I like to use some hot glue as well, and I did that with this build. I use a little bit of hot glue on the back here because when this is mounted in the Sabre, I don't want the repeated pushing of the SD card. I don't want it to end up pushing the soundboard back, right? So it's definitely necessary to anchor that soundboard in there somehow. But there are various ways that you can do it if you're into building Sabres. You can find what works for you in your application. So anyway, yeah, so that is the soundboard chassis that I designed for this build, for this Prizm build, and also my upcoming Crystal Focus build. So again, this is the aux switch, this is the activation switch, and let's go ahead and fire this up without further ado here. Alright, and the bottom cube should be clocked in at 6 o'clock with the cover tech. Alright, and that's how it works. Okay, so a few things on the Prizm V5 board. This, like the Nano Biscotti, has a deep sleep mode. So the kill key, you really only need to worry about that, like using that, if you plan on putting this thing, I don't know, on a shelf and not really touching it for a long time. Okay, because the way that it's set up is after 5 minutes it goes into deep sleep mode, and it'll conserve your battery for a really long time. Alright, so let's fire it up. So again, there's our boot sound. We just woke it up from sleep. And you turn it on. Okay. Now, one thing I want to show you is you'll notice the end here, right around the steel rod. Actually, that lets light shine through, so it doesn't let a whole lot of light come through, but it definitely lets you know when your Sabre's on, because Devin requested that these LEDs not allow light to shine through, so that they would be more accurate to the way the Sabre looked in the movie. Alright, so that's how that is. Okay, now let me install a demo blade here so you can actually see the light from the LEDs coming through. Alright, as usual, I've got the set screw right there. Alright, this just screws in, it's real easy. You can tighten it down, nice and secure. Alright, let's back up a little bit. Okay, fire it up again. Okay, so again, this is a blue, royal blue saber. So it's the tri-cree, and those are the two main die that are wired in parallel for the main blade color, which is a very nice medium blue. It's not a deep blue like a totally royal blue blade. It's also not an ice blue like you'd get if you had two blue dies. It's a nice medium tone. It looks really good. Activation, again, is the red button. Auxiliary is right here. So there's your blaster deflection. Here is your lockup. Okay. Swing sounds. And this again is the 2-watt bass speaker coming through here. This sounds really nice. This hilt sound is a little bit of an issue if you want an accurate pommel, but in my opinion this is probably the best solution for both accuracy and sound quality, at least right now, using some kind of larger speaker vented through here. So here are some swing sounds. Yeah, Prizm is really nice soundboard. Sensitivity, I have it dialed in pretty well. I think it works really nice. And clash sounds. You can see the flash on clash is very impressive. It's one of my favorite effects for sabers like this. So yeah, looks really nice, came out great. Deactivate, you just hold this down. Has power off protection, so you have to hold it down for a couple seconds. It's just like a second or two and then it shuts down. Okay, so next thing, I'll take you outside. I'll give you a little bit of a demo out back so you can see and hear what this sounds like with a full-size blade in it. Okay everybody, let's fire this up and I'll show you the Prizm V5 in the OWK. Yeah, this font sounds really good. This is Desert Slayer by One Sith. This is the Anakin Episode 2 font, and I really like it. I just found it recently. Your blaster deflection sounds. Notice the blaster deflection. I don't know, I'll get closer to the camera if we can see this, but with this particular font, the flash on clash for the blaster deflection has like a split-second delay. See it? And I think that's because it's like, imagine, like the shot goes off and then you deflect it, right? It's like you catch it. It's kind of neat. Anyway. Okay, so we're back inside now to finish this video up. So you've got an idea of what this looks like, how the sensitivity sounds, a few different sound fonts. So I will just wrap up by saying thank you to Devin for commissioning this saber, for making this build possible. I learned a lot from this, and I'm really happy that I got to design a chassis piece for it, and hopefully I'll be able to do more things like that in the future here. Have a lot of projects planned, and I really hope to grow this channel and do a lot of different sabers coming up soon here. So thank you as always to folks for watching my channel and for liking these videos. I've had tremendous positive response so far, and that means a lot. So thank you very much, and I hope you guys like this saber a lot, and may the force be with you. Until next time.